Over the last several months, I've been on a quest, nay, a personal pilgrimage, to learn and become skilled at playing Kaizo Mario Rom Hacks, the unbelievably punishing fan-made creations that push the Super Nintendo version of our favorite plumber to the absolute limit. Last time we reminisced about Lunar Magic, the program used to create these abominations. But today we'll take a look at the players, the games themselves, and exactly how much proficiency is required to complete them. If you're no stranger to this channel, you know that I love a good challenge. But I can say without a doubt this is the single hardest genre I've ever dove into, and I'm excited to talk about the details of my journey. So join me as we discuss the history, evolution, and mind-bending technicality involved in the world of Kaizo. Let's talk about it. So what exactly defines a Kaizo hack? And what makes it different from any other tough Mario game? Well, that's actually a hard question to answer. While the difficulty is inherent and the category has certainly expanded over the years, I would say the philosophy behind Kaizo is to only have one intended way of beating a stage, so that the challenge is unavoidable. That's why you don't see an abundance of power-ups used or multiple paths to take. You simply need to be good enough to overcome the hurdles in your way. There are exceptions, but the general result is a combination of one-hit deaths and endless gauntlets of things trying to kill or troll you. The Japanese word Kaizo literally means rearranged or restructured, and comes from the original hack in this style made by T. Takamoto, aptly named Kaizo Mario World. Actually, funny story about Takamoto, he made 3 Kaizo hacks in all, and virtually nothing else is known about this person. He's disappeared from the internet. As far as we know, he has no idea he helped spawn an entire subgenre of gaming. So back in the day, anyone crazy enough to play this hack always used save states. That way you could keep your progress after every jump and attempt any obstacle as many times as you pleased. It was the only sane way of completing the sadistic set of levels. But in 2015, Dram55 did something I'd never seen before. At AGDQ, he finished Kaizo Mario World without the safety net of save states. This was an incredible feat at the time, and many called him crazy for even attempting it. But Dram had started a movement. Nowadays, using save states is a thing of the past, and players have only gotten better and better as games have become increasingly more brutal. And if you were like me and typically only watch speedruns of these hacks, you don't really get the full appreciation of all the skill involved. For example, on top of how hard this looks normally, there's also tons of invisible coin blocks littered throughout trying to thwart your perfect jump. So after watching top players such as Grand Pooh Bear, Carl Sagan, Pangaea Panga, Dode, and dozens of others, I decided it was time to give this Kaizo thing a try myself. Luckily, these days there are numerous resources on how to get started, including lots of intro hacks that teach the basics for beginners. So I set a few goals for myself before diving in. 1. No save states, period. If I wanted to truly get better at playing them, I didn't want anything artificially making it easier. 2. I wanted to complete at least one ROM hack 100%. Most hacks have a special bonus world after beating the final castle. And 3. To conquer just one level of either Grand Pooh World 2 or Invictus. 2 hacks that in particular seem to be amongst the hardest I've seen. After months of practice, learning, and tons of failing, let's break down how it went. I started out by playing 2 hacks simultaneously, Learn to Kaizo and Baby Kaizo World. The former as a tool to learn the exact inputs and techniques required to pull off certain tricks, and the latter as a test of those skills in action through an easier Kaizo adventure. There was so much to be educated on right off the bat. I knew you could spin jump on buzzsaws and spikes with the A button from watching Let's Plays years ago, but I didn't realize that Super Mario World utilizes 2 different run buttons. So instead of using a claw grip that really hurt my hands after a while, I could simply shift my thumb to the other buttons and maintain momentum without sacrificing comfort. This is so much easier. Next came the dreaded shell jumps. It looks like you should just be able to time your release and it'll work, right? But you actually have to continue holding jump the whole time while letting go of Y for a split second to kick the shell, while also timing and lining it up against the wall. It feels really counterintuitive. This isn't a combination of button presses you ever have to do in regular Mario World. But after some practice and getting used to it, it feels pretty fluid and relatively easy. In my early days of learning, I hit two major roadblocks. One was the Sky Tree stage of Baby Kaizo World, where you have to beat a vine growing upward to hit the block standing in its way, otherwise it stops dead in its tracks. And the other was the second castle in Learn to Kaizo, where, likewise, you need to move incredibly quickly or you can't complete the stage. On top of this, after playing for extended periods of time, my thumbs would just be killing me and I would need to take a break. It took a lot of patience and perseverance, but eventually I started to learn the little intricacies of Mario's movement, to optimize my time spent climbing and spinning through hazards. Perhaps the most important tech I developed was something called regrabs. After moving on to another hack called Quickie World, which I highly recommend if you're starting out yourself, I learned that sometimes you can't simply do a big or small jump to clear a section. Instead, you need to let go of jump before bouncing on an enemy, then repress the jump button after doing a smaller bounce to extend that time in the air to reach the next enemy. These are insanely precise inputs, but the flexibility it allows you to do when it comes to tight jumps and narrow corridors is paramount for standing a chance in harder hacks. It's actually kind of insane how versatile Mario's movement is in a game from 30 years ago. If you let go of jump in midair, he falls faster. You can maintain your running speed even if you turn around. It's like a meter that slowly empties over time that can be refilled if you move again quick enough. Heck, you can even gain more speed by sliding down slopes and not pressing a direction afterward. That doesn't even make any sense. All of this led to crazy revelations, like being able to pull off a double shell jump by throwing one in the air and then quickly doing two tricks back to back. That felt amazing to pull off. Or manipulating charging chucks to jump in such specific ways to clear gaps or launch Mario in a particular direction. Some days it would be so hard to finish a stage or challenge that afterward I'd cool down by playing some Dark Souls. That's not a joke, I really did that. Once I broke past the initial walls of hardship though, I started having the time of my life. Conquering the final castle in Quickie World was a particular highlight. That feeling of relief and satisfaction is unparalleled. Not only did I discover countless new things about vanilla Mario World's engine, like if Yoshi eats a disco shell, he gains all 3 special abilities at once, or that you can slow down your flying speed with the cape by repeatedly tapping B. But I've also experienced a whole new world of gaming through chocolate hacks, meaning stuff that's not originally in the base game. From other franchise cameos to super creative mechanics, I have a new appreciation for the expertise required in creating stages just as much as playing them. Probably one of the coolest things I've seen yet is a set of levels in Invictus, where it teaches you how to use both regular and spin jumps without touching the ground, followed by switching on and off blocks with the L and R buttons, and finally combining them together in the climactic final stage. That's some next level stuff right there. As I mentioned in the last video, I also created my own Kaizo hack called Snowman's Land, and that may have been the best way to perfect my skills, since I had to test the layouts of my stages over and over again. My goal was to create a sort of starter pack that explored the various level themes and everything you can do in them. It's meant to be played after learning some of the basics from the other hacks I've mentioned. It's actually available for download right now at smwcentral.net. The link is in the description below if you wanted to test it out yourself. So, after too many deaths to count, blistered and calloused thumbs, and so much fun, I feel like I'm actually somewhat decent now. The coolest part has been going back and playing levels I've already beaten, and seeing how easy they are to complete now. It feels like once you've solved the riddle of finding the right set of inputs, the puzzle is already complete, and you just need to simply execute what you've previously mastered. Kaizo is really unique in that some challenges that originally took hours to best could only take you a couple minutes in a future playthrough. That's how the unbelievable task Dram showed off years ago became more manageable. It really does just take practice in perfecting your craft. In fact, in the same year, he also pulled off a deathless run of the same game. Remarkable. So how did I do with my goals? Well, as of creating this video, I have completed Baby Kaizo World, Quickie World 1 and 2, and Super DGR World, with many others in progress like Cool Zone and Akogare World. Which, hey, if you want to really hone your regrabs and tight movement ability, Akogare will kick your butt, but you will absolutely improve. And how about those first stages of much harder hacks? Whew, after hundreds of deaths and multiple hours, I can say that yes, I finally beat the first level of Grand Poo World 2. This combined everything I had learned into one terrifying trial. Angles of jumps, timing, setups. You only have a few frames to land on these falling platforms. Holy crap, it's hard, but so rewarding to finish. It's honestly really well designed, and that's just the tip of the iceberg with this hack. Bravo, Barb, seriously. I still have so much more to learn if I ever want to reach the level of top tier players. But if my progress so far has shown me anything, it's that if I put enough time and effort in, I can accomplish anything. I hope if nothing else today, I've shed some light on the true level of talent some of these streamers have. After going through the pain myself, I can confirm that if it looks hard to the untrained eye, it's actually even more impressive once you know everything they have to do to survive. I'll be the first to admit that Kaizo is not for everyone, but the neatest side effect of this whole experiment for me is that once I overcame the barrier of difficulty, I now have a near bottomless well of free entertainment. Years of top-notch hacks to play. If you think you want to give it a try too, I'll put a list of recommended hacks to start with in the description as well. The best news of all is that the future of Kaizo looks brighter than ever. With events like the Kaizo level design contest and weekly races within the community, it seems like there's more opportunity than ever to see new and innovative hacks that reach even higher limits than we've already seen. And the community itself is one of the most helpful and encouraging I've encountered. So hey, if this sounds like it interests you at all, give some of these guys a follow and check out a stream. You may just find your next big passion like I have. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Stay frosty, my friends.